because you got to deal with God's children. And our sole purpose of being here is to help each other. My daddy, God rest his soul, said he always taught us the people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. If we could do it by ourselves, we would be as sad. We'll be miserable. And you can see that with all these celebrities, they got all this money and they still ain't fulfilled. Okay? I do want to shout out our babies. They are authors. Yes. It is our O-U-R, our H-O-U-R. And they paint, they play. That's a different thing. I'm sorry.
No,
that's the same. They
so
all
originally
okay.
Mobile painting.
Okay. Okay. All right. So they she has coloring books that's a journal, but you can color on the same page. So you can write down what you thinking and then go back and color.
I love
right?
that.
We have Miss Marva Brown. Now listen, y'all see the hats.
That's right. Yes.
Those not your average hat now.
No, ma'am.
I went over there and was like, well, I don't know how much. I got to transfer my savings to my check.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And I've been...
Apple Pay, Amazon Pay, PayPal,
All right.
And her husband, because they're a dynamic duo, he has a cigar concierge service.
Nice.
So, for the fellas that be smoking all that.
And the ladies too. And the
Oh,
ladies.
y'all smoke too?
And the ladies.
Oh, I don't mess with my lungs.
It's your gift. That's why it's your gift.
You all in the hell, right?
Okay. You hear professionals. Because you got to exhale the All right. We do have Elite Premier Financial Service, LLC.
Yes.
So it's tax software, e-filing, bank product enrollments, marketing training, life coaching and training throughout the season. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, I don't be trusting everybody with my taxes, but
She's trustworthy.
Especially for them businesses.
Yeah.
Like, Lamont been doing my taxes for 3 years. All right. So, our next is she's gonna come and discuss. I gotta get her theme music ready though. Miss Renee, you didn't set a trend. I'm loving it.
You got theme music in our head.
Yes.
So Miss Tia Rouse is gonna come. Am I pronouncing it right? Is
Rouse.
Rouse.
Yeah.
Is gonna come and she's gonna talk about healing and restoration. If you need tissue, we do have some napkins in the back, just in case. Okay. I see a therapist every Friday at 10 o'clock. So
That's right.
for 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'll be like, let me confess my sins. All right. Here we go.
People already know I'm in there. People already know I'm in there. People already know I'm in there.
You ain't gonna let me hold
Oh.
That's all right. It's for the aesthetic. It's for the aesthetic.
See?
I don't need it. I just want the aesthetic. You see how it helps. It just do something to you when you get the mic in your hand. You feel real stagnant. It's like you're supposed to be here.
The Bluetooth been shaking.
Yes, it's the Bluetooth. It's okay. We don't need the clicking. That's all right.
Yeah.
It's the aesthetic. aesthetic for me. Y'all like my sister Renee said, it's the aesthetic.
Yes, yes.
Hey y'all, how's everybody feeling?
Excellent.
I'm gonna go on and take my seat. I won't be before you long. As the good old church folks say. But my sister Rodnisha asked me to be a part of this amazing conference. I am so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your obedience. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes.
Because we know that something like this takes a lot of sacrifice.
Yes.
And you need to have the right people around you to be able to pour into you in those moments. So thank you for allowing me in your space. And I love you, girl. Thank you.
Love you.
All right, so we're talking about healing and restoration. She asked me to talk about that, so I will tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Tia Rouse. I am a nurse. I am a doula. I am a healing coach. I am an inspirational speaker. I'm also a TV personality. You guys can see me on Amazon Prime and Tubi on Love Exposed. Sometimes I forget that part. Gifts will make room for you. God told me a while ago that he was going to make me a millionaire with my mouth, so here I am. Using that thing just to say whatever it is that he tells me to say. So I'm excited to be here and share with you guys. But I cannot talk about healing and restoration without talking about a little bit about my story. We don't have that long for me to go all the way back into childhood, but I'll give you just a little bit about the last few years. I have had to go through multiple seasons of healing. And if anybody, I know healing is very cliche right now. It's a trending topic. Everyone's always talking about protecting your peace and healing and your energy and your vibe and your tribe and all of that. But it's a lot deeper than just the trendy self-care, let's take some bubble baths and get massages and say we're healing. It's a lot different. It's a lot deeper than that for me and for the work that God has called me to do. So I can't talk about healing and restoration without talking about the process of being broken down.
That's it.
First of all, I don't look like what I've been through. I mean,
Come
just into it. A couple years ago, I had to hit that swirl for you just to put a little emphasis on that. I allowed the attack to be a physical attack for me. I've had multiple attacks, but my health was attacked in 2020 when everyone was going through the pandemic and we were going through our worlds being shaken and all of these things happening. I personally went through my own storm, my own season. Before that, I got married to my amazing husband in 2019. God sent a ram in the bush. He sent me my Boaz. I'm grateful. Like, yes, Lord, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you did for others. You did it for me, God. I thank you. But immediately after our wedding in September, my health began to decline. I dealt with fibroids for multiple years. As Black women, we know that is something that plagues our community, and it's something that is just, it's passed down, and it's a whole beast to deal with in and of itself, women's health. But that's something that I dealt with for several years, 9 years, and it got to the point where it was something that I could no longer continue to endure. I had multiple surgeries. They discovered them when I was pregnant with my youngest child, who's now 11. I worked for and with the great Dr. Carlton Lyons. He is one of the best urogynecologists in the land. And I'm grateful to have been his nurse and his sidekick for 5 years. But he's also the physician that found my fibroids, and he was with me throughout the whole journey. Finally, he's like, okay, we done fought this for as long as we can. You've tried everything. It's time for you to go ahead and get these removed. I wasn't having any more children. And so my uterus got to the size of a 20-week uterus. So if anyone's been pregnant before, then you know that is like carrying a large child. So it was in that season that God began to reveal to me the importance of not only women's health. As a women's health nurse, I already knew that. But when it began to be something that was affecting me personally, I realized I had to do some shifting with some things. God allowed me to build a platform and a business as a personal trainer and transition from all of that. And so it was kind of a smack in the face, because you've given me this business and this vision that I'm supposed to help these women heal mind, body, and soul, but helping them transform their lives physically, and I couldn't use my body. And so I'm like, okay, God, so what you want me to do with this? Because because this don't feel good, and I can't really do what I need to do. So what does this look like? So got married. He said he was gonna make me a millionaire with my mouth. And so I started a podcast and a YouTube channel, and I just started speaking. And for some odd reason, I don't know why he feels like I'm the one to go ahead and just go forth and say what he want to say, but he saw the best in me. Yes. And so through that, I started to dig a little bit deeper. And so taking my journey of healing a little bit deeper started from things that started happening within my health. So get married in September, October, I get the news, okay, you're gonna have to have a hysterectomy. New Year's Eve, my procedure. I go into 2020 having to heal. That took a very long time for me to heal from that. As a nurse that worked with patients every day, I didn't understand the importance and the depth of the healing that needs to take place when you have something that's taken from you. Yes, people can say it's just your uterus and you're not using it anymore, but no. The level of healing that has to take place on an emotional and a hormonal level, nobody prepared me for that. I told Dr. Lyons, I said, you lied to me. I worked with you every day for 5 years. I was watching you counsel these women and pour into them. You did not, I said, I'm on the other side of the curtain. And so telling my story about my fibroids actually is where my podcast was birthed. And that was, to this date, still the most streamed podcast that I have ever had, is me saying, I'm not broken. Because you feel like you're broken. And so, you know, you're looking at these things. I have this amazing husband, I have this new family, and he gets sick, poor, and worse immediately.
Come on.
What you gonna do, all right? So it takes me a long time to heal from that, and then we come into March, April, the pandemic begins to hit, and my health was still declining. I still didn't feel like myself. I was having some issues with my stomach. I was having some issues. I was losing weight, didn't know what was going on. Couldn't get into the doctor to actually get evaluated from April. It took me until May before I was able to see somebody. And they said, okay, we're gonna do all this workup. We're gonna get you a colonoscopy, all these different things, because I just was so sick. And they found a mass on my colon, and it was right on the colon and the small intestine where they meet. And they're like, okay, well, we don't know what's going on, but we found something, and it looks like cancer, and we'll talk to you, we'll find out what it is, and we're going to talk about chemotherapy. So immediately the doctor's like, it's cancer or Crohn's or lymphoma, we don't know what it is. They send this off. Takes 3 weeks for me to get my results. So in my head, I'm planning all of these end of life things. I have children, I have a family. I'm visibly ill, down to 120 pounds. Still didn't really know exactly what's going on. And in that moment, after the colonoscopy, I said, okay, God, all right, check this out. This is what we gonna do, because you play 2020. I get it. I see what you're doing here. But for me, this thing is personal. So I said, I'm gonna take 24 hours. I'm gonna just process this. I'm gonna take the time I need to be mad. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cuss. I'm gonna fuss. I'm gonna do all that, and then we have to come up with a plan. And so I took the time I needed. I went to a hotel. I didn't want to be around my family. I didn't want to be around my husband. I needed to process it. And God said, okay, do you trust me?
That's it.
Woo!
That's it.
I said, I think I do. I mean, I feel like I have.
That's the word.
I think I do, yeah.
Word right there.
And I said, but God, I need a miracle. I need you to perform a miracle. I need to see a miracle. And God said, I need you to stop looking for the miracle, because you are the miracle.
You're talking today.
I said, okay. Well, God, I'm sick and I don't feel good. I don't know what's going on. And he said, do you trust me? All right, okay, I trust you. So I understood the importance, and as a nurse, as a coach, as a women's health specialist, all these things, I understand the importance of knowing where the interaction and the correlation between trauma and emotional pain and emotional brokenness, and how that can manifest itself into our lives physically. And so God used that 3 weeks of me waiting for my results. You know, he interacted with me. I learned about God more in that season than I ever have, and I've been in the church since I was a little girl. I learned I had to get in the pit, and I had to sit there, and I had to allow things to be broken down. And thankfully, my healing coach, who was sitting right here, thank God for her, thank God for everybody needs a queen. But God used her to be able to help me see that a lot of what I was dealing with had nothing to do with my physical state. But it was so much trauma, it was so much pain, it was so much just bitterness and brokenness and all of these things that played a role into where I was physically. And so within that healing process, I had to start breaking things down. Okay, who do I need to forgive? What do I need to understand? What relationships do I need to evaluate? What things do I need to look at in my life that I need to release? What is it that I need to call forth? What is it that I need to clear out? What is it that I need to accept? And God's still like, but do you trust me? I trust you. I said I trust you now. Okay, come on, what we gonna do? I need some answers. I need you to move fast. I need you to do all these things. And God specifically in one day sent 2 people to tell me that the mask that I was carrying didn't even belong to me. And see, anybody in this room, and I know that this is a room full of called and chosen people that understand that the enemy, when there's a call over your life, the enemy will try to take you out before you even have an opportunity to be who you were called to be. Because he saw who you were before we know who we are. And so the fight is so big and so heavy and it's so exhausting and overwhelming when there's something that God has called for you to do. And we have to understand that the enemy's been trying to take us out long before we even knew who we were. And so the healing process for me really has been breaking down layers and uncovering things and beginning to have an understanding of the things that I've had to go through, the things that have had to break me, the things that have had to build me back up. And so I am so blessed to say, after those 3 weeks, it was not cancer, it was not lymphoma, and they sent me to a surgeon, and they were like, but it's still got to come out.
That's right, they got to go.
It's still got to come out. There's still something, we can't explain what it is, but we know it has to come out. And for me, understanding spiritually how attacks look, and spiritually how God will use things and will allow things that don't make sense to us to actually propel us into our purpose.
That's it.
When they said, okay, we're going to go to this surgery, I go to the hospital, they're like, okay, well, colonoscopy, it's about 1 inch. We're going to do a laparoscopic procedure. We're going to put like 4 little holes in here. Now I've had multiple surgeries. I'm like, do what you do. I already know, come on. I got the best surgeon in the city. Thankfully, with my history as a nurse and working in the medical field, I knew the doctors. I knew the surgeons, and God put me with the best. So I go, I have the surgery, I wake up. I thought I had literally died and came back to life. When I tell you, I felt like a truck hit me. I didn't know that the mass was the size of a softball. And so they had to gut me, literally. What they thought they saw, they didn't see. What they thought they saw on imaging, when they got in there, it was so much more. And so I had to go through this whole procedure. I was in the hospital for 7 days. I had, multiple blood transfusions, all these things. But my healing started before I even got to the hospital because I know what God told me. So even though it wasn't cancer, they said, well, you have Crohn's disease, and this is one of the most aggressive cases we've ever seen. Your case presented like a middle-aged man, and all of these things, and you're going to have to get on these medications, or it's going to recur, and all this. And I said, I respect y'all. I really do. But I know what God told me.
Yes.
And God told me that I am the miracle, and he told me that I was healed. And so I went through the process. I went through my recovery. That recovery, I'm telling you, was so supernatural. It was all God. Like, I had my tribe pour into me, people take care of me, all of these things. I'm used to being the strong friend. I'm the strong one. I'm the one that everybody can go to. I'm the one that everybody can call to pray. I'm the one that everybody can call for some sound advice. And so being in the position of having to receive was very uncomfortable and foreign for me. But God was saying, just let these people pour into you. Let me show you what it's like when you have community. Let me show you what it's like to rest in me. And so all of that, saying all of that to go through, with the healing process physically and understanding that, you know, I didn't receive the diagnosis. I am here. This is 2.5 years later. I've not been on any medications. I haven't had any recurrence. I haven't had any issues. God has literally healed my body. And when I say I don't look like what I've been through, I'm walking around here with half of my organs gone, baby. I'm sitting here before you not looking like what I've been through. And I can't talk about healing and restoration without talking about the process of being broken down.
Yes.
Because God cannot heal or restore something unless it is broken. And a lot of us are in that broken space right now, and a lot of us are frustrated, and we're tired, and we're ready to give up, and we're ready to quit, and we're ready to say, God, pick somebody else, and when is my breakthrough coming? And I know you said what you said, I trust you, I'm walking with you, I'm trying to stay in your will, I'm trying to stay in alignment with what you said for me, but I don't see it yet. And I just want you to know that being strong, there's really no honor in being strong. And I think as Black women, we really need to throw that phrase out of our vocabulary because it's not sustainable.
That's right.
And I have learned that the most strength that I've had has been in my vulnerability. It's been in my authenticity. God has answered my prayers quicker when I say, check this out, God, listen.
Yes.
I don't like how this feels. You tripping. Like, you really tripping right now. This hurts. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. Because God can't bless who we pretend to be.
Right.
And we can't continue to go to him and say, God, listen, God, it's your girl. I know that you said all things work together for my good. And I know that you said that if I just hold on a little while longer, and I'm just holding on. No, sometimes we got to say, God, this hurts. God, I don't like this feeling. God, where are you? If you don't show up, then I'm tapping out. And that's when God can step in. And so healing and restoration, please understand, if you are in a season where you feel like you're being under attack, where you feel like things are just crumbling all down around you, when you feel like everything is just breaking down, please understand you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. Because it cannot be rebuilt unless it's broken. You know, if you look at people that around, and I live in Georgia now, and that has been another transition, and it's just like, okay, God, you healed my body. Okay, 2021, I'm healed. Okay, let me get back into it. Let me get back into my business. Let me get back into my job, all of these things. Then he's like, okay, now I need you to move to Georgia. I'm like, okay, yes, God, I've been praying since I was 12 to get to Georgia. Yeah, my family, come on, boy, let's go. All right, we get to Georgia, all hell breaks loose. Now, God, I know you didn't send me here for yet another season of waiting. I know you didn't send me through another season of healing. I thought I healed this. I thought we was good. God, come on, man. But there are levels to it. And there are layers that have to come off in order for you to be everything that God has called you to be. And so sometimes the shedding is ugly. And sometimes the shedding is uncomfortable. And sometimes the shedding just puts you in a place of vulnerability that makes it hard for you to actually show up. But understand, if you don't take anything else from what I said today, that it's in that shedding, it's in that breaking down that God is doing the best work. And if you're not under attack, then you ain't doing nothing.
Right.
That's so true.
Because dogs don't bark at parked cars. So if you ain't got attacks coming on around you, and if you're not noticing the warfare increasing, then you're not doing enough. Because you're not a threat to the enemy. You're not a threat to his kingdom. You're not a threat. Your purpose isn't propelling you. So if you're not experiencing these things, and that's not to say that I dare not wish attacks on anybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're not feeling the weight of your purpose, if you're not feeling the weight of your calling, then you're not doing enough. Because the enemy ain't gonna bother you if you ain't doing nothing that's gonna threaten his kingdom. And God is really calling, and it's been so heavy on my heart, my ministry, my business, Healing Her Wellness, it's all about helping women heal, especially Black women. It's time for us to get in position. It's time for us to understand our power, our purpose. It's time for us to understand who we are and who we were created to be. And that's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. If you're not mentally well, everything else is going to falter in your life. It takes more than just being physically strong. As a personal trainer, I train people, but 98% of my work was training their mindset. Because if you don't feel like you're worthy of change, if you don't feel like you're worthy of transformation, if you don't feel like you're deserving of the blessings that you're praying for, then it's not going to ever show up authentically. And so changing your mindset and understanding not only who you are, but whose you are. He said, we fearfully and wonderfully made. He said, we're the head and not the tail. We're above and not beneath. We are the lender and not the borrower. But yet we walk around feeling intimidated and feeling inferior and feeling insecure in who God created us to be, when God said, no, I made you beautiful. I made you wonderful. I made you powerful. We taking these whoopings from the devil like we don't have all power through him. And so in order to be able to understand your strength, you have to also be able to accept your weakness. And be able to understand that it's in that vulnerable state that the strength that we really, really need is cultivated. So that's really, like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I really want you to be encouraged. Because everything that God said and spoke to you about your life, about your call, about your purpose, just because the enemy is distracting you right now, just because the enemy is trying to make you lose your mind, the enemy is trying to make you feel like you're having a nervous breakdown, the enemy is trying to make you doubt everything God said about you, everything God said about your business, everything God said about your plans, about your family. Just because the devil is chattering does not mean that God didn't say what he said. So you need to stand secure in that, especially when it comes to your business, when it comes to your self-love. Self-love is not selfish. Jesus is actually the biggest advocate of self-love, because God says we're supposed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. I can't love you if I don't love me. I can't give you what I don't have. And so in order for me to be able to pour, I need to be able to pour from a place of overflow and not a place of depletion. So we have to fill our cups. And we have to know that we know without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care what the devil's saying. I don't care what the naysay. I don't care what my family say. I don't care what the haters say. I don't care what Nisi from back in 8th grade say. I know who I am. And I know whose I am, and I know that I have purpose. And even though it looks like all hell is breaking loose around me, I understand that it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. And God is setting you up for your winning season. I don't care what it looks like. You are in your winning season.
Yes.
Thank you for the microphone down.
No, thank you for the message. Once again, y'all, if y'all have any questions for the panel,
yes.
please save them, because we're gonna get to them individually. Wow.
Come on.
Feeling.
Don't do it, because
We full. You said you asked it. We full.
Yeah, I don't even know. I on the way here, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how this is gonna go. Our turnout was not what we wanted it to be. You know, I'm sending strength to Rodnisha. I'm sending strength to myself, and I was reminded those that's meant to be there are the ones that's supposed to be there.
That's right.
We gonna call Coach Ross up real quick. I don't know what she finna do, but she said she wanna come.
How y'all feeling?